All right, welcome back to the Path to Homeownership podcast series. So today we have a special guest with us. We have Joe Nugent with Joe the Home Pro, and we have Fred Bowman here, Senior Loan Officer. And this is our fourth episode. So the first three episodes, we talked about the path to homeownership. We talked about the pre-approval process, working with the right realtor. Now, the soup and nuts here. So we have Joe, who is a home inspector here in Southwest Florida. Been doing it for 9 years. And he's going to tell his story a little bit. We're going to go into things that you guys should be looking for when you get to that next step, which is the contract. So kick it off, Fred.
Yep. So again, Fred Bowman here, Senior Loan Officer. So Joe, we're going to kind of go through a few items just to kind of go, a lot of the buyers may not know what a home inspection is. So we're going to kind of ask you a few questions to help us out on the importance of it.
Sure.
What they should look for, what they should be doing. So beginning when they first get their contract, they have a time frame to get an inspection done. And there's an importance to that because once that inspection comes in, they can get into repairs and negotiations. But let's start with you. So
let's hear a little about Joe, your story first. Tell the world who you are.
Yeah, Joe Nugent, owner of Joe the Home Pro Home Inspection. So for 3.5 years, I've been full-time at my company. I started it 9 years ago. My wife at the time, her and I were watching a ton of HGTV on the couch. And there's a show about a home inspector. And I was like, I could totally do this. And she's like, you idiot. Have you seen what you tried to do with our master bathroom? Are you sure you can do this? I was like, I'm handy-ish. Like, I know a little about what I need to do. So I was in corporate America for 20 years. I was in the hospitality industry for 20 years to the day.
Wow.
June 16th of 2000 to June 16th of 2020. And a variety of like management roles and sales roles and stuff like that. But so it was funny because, COVID happened and everyone was like, why do you have like this side company, like this side hustle? And I was like, well, you just don't know how long a job's going to be there for.
Sure.
And lo and behold, COVID happens and my job goes away and I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll just go full time in this thing. And
wow.
It's been like very respectfully, because for me, like a lot of people I know, COVID was a really horrible time for them. But for me, COVID was like that catalyst that I kind of needed to.
I think it was for everybody.
Yeah. It was
we all
really
got
cool.
into it right around COVID and it was a big thing. So it's nice to have that side job that you were able to now make your career.
Yeah. Because I was making really good money and had really good benefits and stuff. And everyone's like, you're crazy. Like, you got like this, $115,000 job. And I was like, yeah, well, you just never know. And
right.
I was getting ready to leave anyways. And then like, I'll never forget that day I came back in the office and they're like, all right, we got to put you on furlough. I was like, awesome. See you. Bye. They're like, no, we need you to sign the paper. I was like, yeah, fine. I'll sign it. I date it. Like, I'm all good. I texted a realtor. I was like, hey, can you meet me in like 30 minutes? They're like, yeah. I'm like, cool. We'll do the inspection then. And that was it.
Awesome.
So
now, do you have a team or is it just you?
No, I have a team. So I have an unbelievable office manager. Her name's Molly. She's just like the glue that holds everything together. I have a lead home inspector. I just had another inspector start just a few days ago with us, and then we're looking for 2 more inspectors. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's
so that means business is kicking good.
Yeah, I don't know who is trying to convince people that we're out of season, but like we're doing 35 to 40 a week still.
Wow.
So it's like insane. And on top of that, we do about 125 to 140 insurance inspections a month. So I'm very thankful. Like we're slammed. Like I'm working all weekend. I'm doing inspections Saturdays, Sundays. And like, it kind of goes into your question though, really about like the time frame of like, how do we like get deployed? And for us, we always ask like, how long do you have? During COVID, it was like, I have 7 minutes. Like I have 7 minutes to get to a house. I was like, oh, good. Well, here I thought it was going to be really challenging. So that was great. Now it's like people call me now. They're like, listen, we only have 10 days. I was like, I'm actually going to go on vacation, come back, and then I'm going to do your inspection. 10 days is like an eternity right now. Yeah. So, but that's why we work 7 days a week, because people need homes inspected and we're going to be there whenever they need to be there. Right. And whenever they need us there. So if you need, like, I'm doing 2 on Sunday. I'm driving to Venice actually to do one for a realtor.
Well, I wanted to ask you, so like, what's your geography? Like, what's your area?
Yeah. So normally we cover Marco up to like Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, but we're making the move up towards Tampa later this year. So we're starting to push out.
Sweet.
and all that. So it's good. But like if I have a great realtor and they're like, hey, I got something in Venice, do you go there? I was like, for you? Yeah, I'll
Awesome.
be there on Sunday, right?
Yeah, actually, you did one for me. I was like, hey, Joe, can you go there? They don't know of any inspectors. And that one in Port Charlotte, I think.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was up in Port Charlotte.
And so that's good. So out there, if you are in Southwest Florida, we'll give Joe's information at the end so that we can reach out. But he does an amazing job. I've heard nothing but great things. So just wanted to get that out there so you could tell your story before we dive in. So going into the importance of home inspections.
Yeah.
And Fred, you were alluding to that.
So, I mean, we're going to just kind of let you talk, when the realtor kind of reaches out to you or the actual buyer and they tell you, hey, I've got 7 days to get a home inspection. What's that process look like?
Yeah, so the nice thing is that they can call or text our office, so which is great because Molly's always available where I'm like in a meeting or I might be on an inspection or whatever. But for us, it's like we want to know what's the square footage, what's the year, so we can help guide people into what inspections they need.
So the pieces of information is how big?
Yep.
And what else?
And the year that it was built.
In the year, okay.
Those are really important.
That helps direct traffic.
Yeah, 100%. Because people don't know, like most people that are, like I'm from Ohio, what the hell's a wind mitigation? No one knows. Like we don't have hurricanes in Ohio, right?
It's a basement.
Like, yeah, exactly. Right. So it's really, really easy to rack up $2,000 in inspections. So we try to tell people, here's actually what you need. If there's anything you want above and beyond that, because you just want to make you want peace of mind, cool, we can do that for you. But here's like your like base minimum of like bare minimum of what you're going to need.
And in your experience here in Southwest Florida, the base minimum is what would they call a 4-point inspection and a wind mitigation?
Well, for the insurance company, but really the 4-point is only truly needed if you have a home that's 20 years or older. Okay. And then when you go into like the condos and the townhomes and the villas, that's a whole different ballgame because some carriers don't need it. Right.
Yep.
So it just depends on that. But the general inspection for sure. And then we always recommend a wind mitigation because it's $150, but it can save you thousands of dollars
on your insurance.
And it's good for 5 years. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I joke with people. I go, none of my kids, neither one of my kids are going to college because I'm adding $150 onto your bill. I'm like, I'm going to save you a bunch of money. I'm actually at a point now where I'm like, you know what? I'm saving people like 10, 15 grand. I'm like, we should start charging based on the percentage of savings. Like, I think we need to change this up a little bit, but it's good. So there's all sorts of, I mean, like, would I come and buy a home in Southwest Florida without doing a mold and air quality test? Absolutely not.
Right.
It's
especially
super
after
expensive.
the hurricanes.
It's crazy expensive, but it's worth it. I want to know, do I have something going on? Everyone's like, do you check for mold? I'm like, yeah, but like mold doesn't just like come out and say, hi, I'm mold. Like you don't just like it's not just like something that just like peeks its head out, like, hey guys, how you doing? I'm old. Like you got to do that.
And you
got
to dig a little bit for it too.
100%.
Like we're like in the air conditioning area or where water would seep into. But now after Ian, I mean, I have a lot of clients right now, and that's their biggest fear is mold. Yeah. And
should be.
I tell them like you should check to make sure in every crevice or wherever because it spreads like fire.
Yep.
Yeah,
it spreads.
And it's not just like some people are like, oh well, maybe like just a couple miles like within like the coastline. I need to do that. No, mold can happen in Golden Gate Estates. It can happen in Lehigh. It can happen in Cape Coral. It can happen all these places anywhere that are inland. Right? It doesn't matter where it is.
Or a drip underneath your sink. That just
100%.
If you're not checking on it. So good stuff there for sure. I mean, I think that's all important things. And, if you are in that period of the buying process, it's very, very important, for a good home inspector because there's a lot of home inspectors out there. And I know some realtors out there just like, oh, I'll just call this person. I would say for people out there, do your homework, read reviews. I know everybody's a little bit different. I don't think price should be the decision of which one you go with.
Oh.
Because I know
it's
it is
unbelievable to me. It kills me, like the realtors that are like, well, this other guy's going to do it for like $50 cheaper. I'm like, are you paying for it? They're like, no. I'm like, then what do you care? Like,
right.
You know what we can do. You know our quality. And conversely, it's the same thing with like someone that's buying like the $800,000 home, which is like the average home price now, right? You guys know this.
Here it is, yeah.
And they're like, nope, there's no way I can spend $500 for an inspection. I did one in Wisconsin. It was like $200. I was like, well, we're a for-profit company, so let me tell you how this works. Like, I mean, right? So that stuff kills me.
I get it. There are some people that, at least in our world, who are just squeezing by. They're doing down payment assistance and literally their escrow deposits, all they have, and that's $500. But the nice thing with you guys is you do take credit cards, I'm sure, and or a family member could pay for it. So there's different options out there that, you don't have to come out of your own pocket, but it's very, very important that you have the right person doing it, because this is the biggest purchase of your life.
Right. And why would you not want to spend that money to protect it?
Right.
Yeah. And I get it. Some people are in like a tough spot. We'll work with anybody, right? I mean, we've
Maybe do a
literally
payment
done
plan or something.
And we literally have done that before with people. It's like we want to help people out. That's why we're in this business. And the one thing I love about where we are is that we're not priced like the highest and we're not priced the lowest.
Just right where you need to be.
But at the same time, people know our value. And they know, like, we keep winning awards. We have amazing service. Like, I'm really proud of my team. They do such an amazing job. And so for us, it's all about relentless service is our number one company pillar. Everything is about us being of service to other people. And that servant attitude goes such a long way. And the fact that most home inspectors are solopreneurs, that it's just them.
Right.
So when I hear stories all the time, especially in season. Oh, my normal guy, he's 12 days out. I'm like, well, we're 2 hours out. What do you need? Like, I have people, like, we can deploy. Like,
you're not a one-man show.
No, we'll be there at 8 a.m. on a Sunday, or we'll be there at 6 o'clock at night on a Tuesday. Like, just tell us what you need, because that's what we need down here. Like in Southwest Florida, why is it that service-based businesses forget the service?
Yeah.
It's like, this is what you're here for.
I know.
So for us, it's just like 20 years in the hospitality industry, it just has been ingrained into me of like, you just got to go above and beyond for the client.
That's the biggest thing.
And you're helping people.
We say the same thing for us. I mean, we deal with, but we have clients all the time that are coming from Michigan and they have their mortgage person, whatever. Then the realtor's always like, well, check out Fred, check out Matt, check out whoever. And they start talking to us and you're like, oh my gosh, these people are awesome. They answer the phone, they talk to you. And
yeah.
We make it fun. We try to make it fun. Yeah. I mean, it's mortgages, but we try to make it a good experience. But we also have all the tools and resources, such as home inspectors. We have Joe in our back pocket. We have different title companies. We have a whole bunch of different things that we help people
agents
with.
Compete.
We do the white glove service.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you have to have that team of people, of trusted professionals that are not going to let you down and can make it happen for you whenever you need it. And more people need to understand that concept.
In the home inspection world, so when you go to a house, what are some of the common things that you guys see when you're out there?
Well, first of all, nobody opens up their windows in Southwest Florida. So
that's a good one.
Windows never work down here.
I don't think I've ever opened ours.
No, I'm not kidding. Windows never work. And they're like, oh, my window's broken. I'm like, no, it's just stuck because it's never been opened in 17 years. You know what I mean? So windows are always an issue, I feel like.
Okay.
Obviously, people are super concerned about their roof and their AC. Those are the two big things. Pool equipment is also another, kind of hot topic, but we see a lot of stuff in the electrical panel. Mm-hmm. That's probably where we see the majority of our challenger panels.
Not the car.
Yep. Challenger panels is one, and then double tap. So a double tap is where you have two wires that go into one breaker. We see it all the time, and it's a really, really simple fix.
Yeah, and that's, I think, I've run into a lot of them, and people get scared of like, oh, there's this issue with electric panels. Like, double tap? Yeah, that's
the house hasn't been on fire yet. It's okay.
No,
Just get it updated.
But
it's an easy fix.
It is. And it's the same thing with when a GFCI outlet doesn't work. People are like, do we need to rewire the house? I'm like, well, you could do that. Or you could go to Home Depot for $16 and buy a new GFCI outlet. Your choice. I mean, you choose whatever you want to do. Right?
You can do it yourself.
Like everyone calm down. And I think that's something that we have mastered is how to talk to clients and giving them the truth without scaring the heck out of them. And
I like it.
And that's a really, really important thing. Like I always joke that I'm like, inspecting is actually only about 65 or 70% of what we do. The rest of it is all in how we communicate and talk to the client and the realtor and how we convey the challenges that are going on. Listen, there is no such thing as a perfect home. No such thing.
Right.
And we tell people that right off the bat. So they know. It's like everything can be fixed though.
Now, what is like your standard operation? So now you got a date to go to see this property.
Yeah.
Who goes with you? What's that look like? What do you actually, just a quick rundown of what you do when it comes to inspecting the home.
Well, who goes with us really depends, because normally we're just going out there and we have one guy that can do everything that we need to get done. Right? Could they order mold? Yes. Could they order termite? Sure. And we have 3 different guys that have been with me forever.
Good. So you guys could do the termite inspections and all
they
that.
They all come out at the same time. So Molly coordinates the whole thing, which is great. So that way it's
because for VA loans we have to get the
termite.
Get it.
Yeah, you have to get termite, right? So that part's really nice that we can all kind of like convene at one time and everything. But for us, I mean, it's a top to bottom look over of the home. And then what's really cool is that we have this really great thing called technology that we use, because believe it or not, there are still inspectors that are like, here's my clipboard. here's my pen and paper. And they're like there for like 7 hours. I'm like, with all due respect, we're way too busy to be at this home for 7 hours. We have like an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. We got to go. Like we have other
So that's how long it usually takes, about 2 hours. I mean, obviously bigger house, more things. Longer.
Yeah. I mean, like, so take like an 1,800 square foot home with a pool that needs a general inspection, a wind mitt, and a 4-point. It's an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes.
Nice. Okay. So you're not spending all day there.
No, because the technology is so great. And this is what we love, is that we can just point and click on our iPad and like all the narratives are built in. We're just taking a ton of pictures. They're already there. And then the report goes out a couple hours after we're done, which also people love. So one of the other things I keep hearing from realtors, especially, or even from homeowners, like, oh, it took me like 2 days to get my report. I was like, if you don't hear from me by 6 o'clock, call for help. Something happened. Like you're going to get
come find me.
Like, like something bad went down, right? Like you just need to like reach out to us. So these are the things that we try to do to help other people. And again, on the report, page 3 is their summary page.
Okay.
So like we were talking.
So if we're first time home buyers and we get a report from Joe, page 3 is the summary page. How do we read the report?
Everything in red is like, here's what needs to be fixed or addressed.
Keep your eye on it.
Yeah. Anything in green is all good, but anything in red means there's a deficiency of some kind. We need to bring somebody out to either get it fixed or take a closer look at it or whatever the case might be.
Yeah. And that's, I think, kind of the big thing that they need to understand what is wrong with the house. You know, they have a certain time frame to continue their contract or to negotiate with the seller to get things fixed, or figure out some way to negotiate on how to get that all remedied. And there's certain things, that especially if they're doing a type of like FHA loan where things have to be fixed. You can't even close the loan without it.
Right.
So the home inspection is actually, it's extremely important. And I think one thing, I don't know if you mentioned this, is that the home inspection is not the appraisal.
Right. It's also not a flood certificate or elevation certificate, right? We don't do any of that. Like, we get that a lot too.
And it's very important to understand that you still need both. And the home inspections where you start and you kind of go from there. But,
I'll tell you though, another thing too, is just because I'm guilty as charged. When Melissa and I bought the cabin up in Blue Ridge, Georgia, we got a home inspection. Obviously lived down here in Naples and we were not there for it. And when that inspection came in, I was just like, oh, look at that room. Because we missed the house and we were so excited to close on the property that I kind of probably missed some things after the third time of looking at it. And the fourth time I called the guy, I was like, is there anything I need to be worried about? But that's the thing too, is that some of our clients are so excited and maybe they don't see the red, or maybe there's not that much of red there, but I think that's really a cool thing that it's there so you could see it. And then with notes, so, we hear it a lot. They're like, oh, like you said, the breakers are not good in 3 rooms. I'm like, you go to Home Depot, it's $30, you know? And I want to tell people out there that don't be freaked out by your inspections. You are getting a report card of your property.
Sure.
And so that way, down the road, you're not like, oh man, the inspector missed that. Like Joe's job is not to, paint unicorns and rainbows. He's going to tell you like, hey, the soffits need to be replaced. It's leaking, whatever. And those are things that are important to understand, but it may not be the end of the world either. So don't freak out if you have things on your inspection report that need to get fixed. Cause I'll be honest with you, a lot of sellers will take care of it.
Yeah. I mean, our job is to go in there and protect people. Like I always tell people on an inspection, what's going to cost you a boatload of money down the road? That's what we need to protect you from.
Roof, air conditioner.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like, what are like the main things? Like, okay, so my microwave doesn't work. All right, so $200 and we can figure that
Marketplace,
out, right? I mean, like,
free.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just like a home is a complex thing of a lot of systems, a lot of components, but at the end of the day, we're going to break it down line item by line item and room by room to really like, we're going to help explain to you and educate you on how your home works and how to continue to make it work through preventative maintenance.
Yeah, no, 100%.
No, that's, now, do you actually have a conversation after you deliver the actual report to the clients or to the buyer's agent per se?
Yeah, we always talk to the buyer's agent, who 99% of the time is going to be there to let us in and stuff like that. The challenge we've had, especially since COVID, is that the buyers are not here. They're up north somewhere,
wherever,
right? Or there's a lot of buyers that are like, do you mind if I come to the inspection? I'm like, hell yeah.
Please.
Come. Like, we love when buyers are there because we want to show them what we're seeing, and then we can talk to them and tell them, here's what's going on. Because sometimes when you read something in red on a report, it's going to sound a hell of a lot scarier than
Yes.
if I'm just like telling you like, here's what's
It's
going
just
on.
an automatic thing.
I
you
think
know?
that's a great nugget. Like, go to your home inspection. Not only do you get to see your house and kind of appreciate it,
Tell the
but you
people out there,
kinda know
Fred. Tell them.
what it is. So
Tell them all. Go to your home inspections.
But, and by the way, if you have a home inspector who's saying, no, I don't want you there, that's a red
That's a
flag.
flag. That's a flag.
yes.
That's a flag.
Yep.
And I've heard this before.
How? Just curious. To become a home inspector, like what kind of requirements does it take? Schooling, classing, internships?
It is no joke to become a home inspector in the state of Florida. Florida is the second most stringent state for home inspection. 120 classroom hours online I did.
Wow.
I did 40 hours up in Tampa on a whole weekend, like in a weekend lab. And then you got to take a state test. And then
Continuing
after that,
education too?
Continuing education. Like I require all my inspectors, they have to do like 40 to 50 hours a year.
So take a guess. How many hours do you think you need to do to be a mortgage broker?
Not many.
Let's take a guess.
I'm going to say like 20.
Nailed it.
Yeah. 20.
Yeah.
20 hours. So think about that. We're handling the biggest purchase of your life for 20 hours and 8 hours of continuing education plus
Yeah.
the state ones.
Hold on now. I think
And they
I'm
have
onto a new
200.
business. This is good.
200 hours. So that means you have the right people in your back pocket to help you in these home inspections. So good to know. It's a fun fact. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's interesting, and like I launched my company nationwide, so we're doing a licensing program right now, and it's interesting to see some of the states that don't require anything. Like you just need like a business license from like your county, and okay,
Wow.
we'll be a home inspector. And it's like that's why Florida got into the mess we got into years ago. You had all
Right.
these like good old boys like working out of like their garage going, I'm a home inspector. And you're like,
I
no,
was a
you're,
handyman. For
no,
a few
you're
days.
not, dude. Like you fix toilets for a living. Like you're not anywhere near an inspector.
Only because the person will never watch this that did our first home inspection, because I don't even know if they live in Florida anymore, but it was a long time ago. But it was literally the man with the butt cheek hanging out with a ladder. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Did a good job. I'm just saying, like,
He's bringing sexy back.
I don't know how. And then, you know, I did have Troy Thornhill do the new house that we live in.
Yeah.
And that was very thorough. And it's a bigger house. But, you know, there's good people out there. And I'm glad we got to meet finally, too.
I know.
So we're going to send a lot of people your way.
Well, and here's the thing. You brought up a really good point I want to talk about. So a good inspection does not mean someone's there for 8 hours. That doesn't qualify and make that a really good inspection. Conversely, a 187-page report also does not mean this is an amazing inspection. We take, like, our inspections are anywhere between 30 to maybe 50 pages, but we take people on a visual story throughout their home.
Cool.
And the way our software works is it starts on the outside and it works its way in. And you go through. And so if people like really read their inspection report, which who knows how many actually read the whole thing, but like if they read it, they're going to like be taken on this journey throughout this new home. And we are very visual for two reasons. First of all, most people aren't there, as we just talked about, on their inspection. So we want them to see everything that we're seeing. And two, we're going to cover our butts, because it's like someone's like, you didn't do this. I'm like, well, go to page 36 in your hymnal and you'll see right there. There's a picture of that.
We were talking earlier about wells and septics.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to talk about that, Fred? Just
Well,
if
So, well, and septics are very big here, especially in the Naples and Lee County area.
Yep.
And
seems like anything east of 75.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And do you inspect wells? And
We do
things?
not.
Okay.
So there's a couple things we don't inspect: wells, septic, and seawall. And here's why: they are such specialized systems and components. You need an expert to really know
Like
what's
somebody
going
certified.
on. Yeah. So like JNC Drainfields, who we always refer
Recommend,
out.
yep.
And we refer them out like crazy. My buddy Morgan works there in their office, and they're awesome. It's incredible though, the people that are like, I think the well's okay. I think the drain field's okay. And then they realize
That's
they
an
got a
expensive
$14,000 bill for a new drain field.
Well,
right?
Almost. Yeah, I had somebody 20,000.
Yeah. It's crazy expensive.
And the thing is, certain type of loan programs, you
Require
can't even
it.
move forward without having
Yeah.
these inspections. So it's good to know that you have somebody to kind of refer if need be, and kind of keep it all, seamless in a way.
Our thing is like, I never want to misrepresent who we are and what we can do. Like this guy the other day we're talking about seawalls. This guy the other day was like, well, can you just like look over and tell me what you think? I was like, Yeah, it looks fine. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I have no idea. Like, I'm not a structural engineer.
The seawall is that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah,
So you got to have the right team in place. We talked about that earlier, having the team. And like, I have my people that I can call. What also is great is like, we'll be on inspection and I'm like, oh man, I don't even know what this is. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I'll call my plumber. I'll call my electrician. I'll text them, like, and I can get answers. So it's like, I have those people around me that it's like, if we don't know everything, a home inspector is a generalist. So you know a little about a lot.
Yeah.
Right. But sometimes you're like, I don't really understand what this is. I've never seen this before. And it's like, I got to call in the expert. And so that's what we do.
I think at least for here in Florida, roofs is a very, very big thing, especially for insurance. How do you guys determine when you're looking at a roof? Because I get this question a lot, especially from the realtors.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to be able to get insurance, or if we can't, it's like $6,000 where it would normally be like $2,000. So what are some things that you guys either look for or determine what the time left on the roof and things that could possibly be wrong?
All right. So we have 3 main roofs down here: asphalt shingle, which has a 25-year life expectancy on average; concrete tile, which is 35 to 40 years; and then metal, which is 50 years. Okay. So what we can do is figure out on the permitting site, when was the last time the roof was permitted? When did it get replaced? And then from there, we'll just take that age and deduct it.
I even ran into people getting roofs without a permit too during one
that's
period.
A big issue.
Yeah.
And then nobody could tell, right?
Issue. Yeah. And then it's like taking a dart and throwing it up against the dartboard.
There's no way to tell.
There's no way to know.
Yep. And you can't just prove it in any way.
Correct.
So,
like, you can give your best guess, educated guess at that, but it's still not. It's not like a science.
Yeah.
It's tough. But the concrete tile roofs are the big ones that people really tend to freak out about, because they're like, oh, I got 3 broken tiles. I was like, do you have like $150? Because like, that's all you really need. Like, you can fix it. The concrete tiles are decorative. They don't do anything. It's underneath that matters, right? Now, a shingle roof is a little bit more of a bigger, challenge, I guess. Up in Ohio, like where I'm from, if you have like some shingles missing, you're screwed. Down here, you could still kind of be screwed, but you might even be a little bit okay still. But at the end of the day, you can put 2 layers on for asphalt shingles. So like, if we go to a house and it's got 4 layers, we're like, this roof has to come off. They're like, why? It's fine. I'm like, well, it's like, it's not supposed to be 4 inches high. Like,
wow.
You know what I mean? So again, you have like these fly by night people. And what I would tell people is, when the next time we get hit with a hurricane, do not accept the guy that knocks on your door that's like, I can get you a new roof from your insurance company. That's why we're in this insurance mess to begin with.
Right.
Yeah. Alabama, Texas, forget these people.
They all
go with your local companies.
Yeah.
I cannot stress that enough.
After Irma, that was a big thing.
Oh,
it happened to us.
Yeah. It's happened to tons of people.
We got a new roof.
Yeah. And guess what, though? It's not permitted. And then so then they go to sell the home, and it's like, you haven't, I don't have no permit on this.
Melissa and I, we even permit our air conditions, even though you don't have to, like a new unit.
So
we
good.
permit everything just so it's documented, it's there.
Yeah.
And you could always refer back to it versus it not being permitted. So that's a good thing there too. I wanted to ask you about new construction. So down here in Southwest Florida, actually all of Florida, there's a lot of builders out there, and not so much the big boxes. There's the mom and pop builders too, but with the big boxes, since they're so new, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with blue tape.
Yep.
So a lot of my realtors go, oh my God, I marked up the entire house. So if you could give some advice out there for, any home buyer, first time, season, whatever, do you think it's important to get a home inspection on new construction? I
do, and here's why. There's 2 different types of inspections you can do for new construction. The first one is the actual inspection before you do your final walkthrough, where you're taking the blue tape and you're like, hey, this is wrong. One. This isn't right here, right? That kind of stuff. Because it's really a cosmetic inspection. Like, your AC is going to work. Your electrical panel is going to be fine at Pass Collier County, permitting and so forth, and their inspections. So at that point, it's really about the cosmetic side of things. The other big one, and this is the one that people don't do enough of, nearly every new construction home has a 12-month warranty on it. So at the 11th month, people should be calling a home inspector, hopefully Joe the Home Pro, just going to throw that out there, and say, hey, my warranty's almost up. Can you come out and do an inspection for me? I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because before the builder, it's still on their dime. If something's wrong, the builder can go out there. And sometimes people will put in tons of work orders and it doesn't matter. But when it comes from a home inspection company on an official report, now they're obligated to act on it.
That's great to know, because
So
that's huge.
I get a lot where they're like, hey, we told them this was wrong, and they just keep ignoring us, blowing us off. But
put it on an official report, because then, God forbid, you have to have
documented.
legal recourse. You have this report.
Yeah.
All right, so for everybody out there, if you bought a new home within the last 11 months, you need to make calls to Joe.
Call
and
us.
we'll have all of his information. He's going to say it at the end. But that's a very, very good point that I never even thought about. Or even sometimes the sellers offer home warranties on a house. That's not a bad idea. I mean, it might work differently than a builder's warranty.
It does. When you buy a home, getting a 1-year warranty on it, it's like pennies on the dollar, like
Cheap.
$700,
Yeah.
I think, maybe.
Covers everything.
And it covers everything. So like if you have like a really old AC that's like 14 years old and you're like, this thing could go any minute now, or a water heater that's 12 years old or whatever,
that's worth it.
Yeah, 100%.
I didn't even know about it. I had a realtor tell me about it. She's like, oh, I always offer my clients, and I pay for it, the home warranty.
Yeah.
For you, it gives them peace of mind and everything else. But that's a great idea, especially with new construction, because I do a lot of them, with Lennar, mostly with their fallouts that they can't figure out the mortgage side of things. Thank you. And, that's a good thing. I'm going to make sure I put that as part of my conversations for sure with that.
Yeah, it's just, and it's everyone asks me this. I'm like, it's a full inspection. We don't just like glance over stuff, or like we do a full inspection like we would on any other home.
Well, let's face it, the new construction homes, they're putting them up so fast, and things can happen. So I mean,
truthfully, some of our new construction homes are worse than a 25-year-old home.
I didn't say it. I told you. I agree. So when
there's a couple builders in particular I'm thinking of, but there's some really good builders down here too.
There are,
that have great subs and do a great job.
But the thing is too, is like when we were looking to buy the house we live in now, we looked at new construction, $800,000 house, and then it's got crooked, like, I'm not very good with my eyes. I wear glasses, but I'm sitting in the kitchen, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, the vent for the stove, right, that goes up, even though it's electric, it just looks good.
Yeah,
it's crooked. I'm sitting there going, like, that's the most basic thing in the world, and then there's tape everywhere because somebody else looked at it, I guess. Yeah. So
it's like you had one job.
You had one job. Just hang it right.
And I wish builders, by the way, speaking of new construction inspections, builders need to check their ego. Would you rather have a home inspector with a report that says, hey, by the way, here's some stuff you need to address? Or would you rather have your client screaming at you for the next 3 months?
I go with Joe.
Like builders, I wish, and there's a couple that understand this, but builders overall need to understand that we are there to help them, and we are there as an extension of them.
And you might save them some money.
And time and aggravation and all the other stuff. Like, we're not here to pick apart what you did, man. We are here to help you.
Yeah.
We have a mutual client. Let's get them to the finish line.
Yeah.
We're here to help you with that process. Not we think you're a horrible person. Like,
I think that's a great way to kind of position that, because a lot of people are just going to assume you're here to tell me bad news, and it's not really the case. I'm here to make sure that these things get organized.
Yeah, FYI, this stuff needs to get addressed. You'd much rather hear from me than I'm not going to scream at you. I'm just going to give you a report, but they're going to scream at you. So what do you want?
Yeah, it's just easier to have you in the back pocket, for whatever it is, and that way you could help them. I mean, we covered a lot. I told you it goes by fast. It's already been 35 minutes. I don't think I have anything to add. I think we talked about a lot of good things. Joe, was there anything that you wanted to
I just want to say, first off, I cannot thank you both enough for having me on this. This is awesome. I love talking about home inspections. I'm an entrepreneur and home inspection geek, so this is like super fun for me. You guys have established yourselves as the creme de la creme in your industry, and I think people need to really understand just how good you guys are and what you guys do. And I just really think a lot of this comes back to relationships, and it's like, think about how long we've known each other
without knowing each other,
right? And like just meeting you, like, this is awesome. So I love, like, I geek out on like the whole like relationship thing, and I think that's what people understand. The home buying process can be challenging, it can be rewarding, it can be frustrating, it can be amazing, but at the end of the day, if you have the right people around you, everything's going to be great. And if you have the right team around you, you have the right lawyer, you have the right attorney, you have the right mortgage person, the right home inspector, the right insurance company, all those people, it should be a really seamless, kind of like transaction. So I just want to thank you for being here. I love home inspections. Call me. We want to do your home inspection.
Do you want to, Do you want to tell everybody how they can reach you? What are some of the ways that we can reach you?
So we're really big on social, by the way. So Joe the Home Pro on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And then if you need to book an inspection, the best way to do it is call or text Molly in my office during normal business hours, which is 239-216-7892.
Say it one more time.
239-216-7892.
Okay.
Call or text that number, and then even on her voicemail, if it's like on a Saturday, it'll say call Joe, and they'll give my cell phone
Directly
number
to
out.
you.
I answer the phone at all hours. I answered the phone last year. I gotta tell you this quick story.
Sure.
Last year, I answered the phone at 11 o'clock at night on a Wednesday night. And no, people are like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, first of all, I was not drinking, so I was okay to answer the phone then."
That's always my rule.
And I put in like, "Oh, I didn't think I was gonna get you." I was like, "Well, you have me, so what do you need?" Like, it's 11 o'clock at night. And some are like, "Well, that's crazy that like you set a crazy expectation." I'm like, "No, we're gonna deliver great service. This is what it's about, right?" This is why the three of us have such synergy, because we all believe in delivering amazing service. And I think that's what is missing down here in Southwest Florida, and we're going to bring service back.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, it's everywhere. I do loans in other states. Yeah. It's all the same thing. And that's why I always say is like, it's really important to have, like you said, the connections and having that synergy, because it does make everything easier. The last thing you ever want to do is work with somebody who doesn't want to work with you or doesn't want to help or do anything like that. Where in our world, I always tell everyone, it's the circle. And our circle always works together. That's why I have my realtor partners. I have now my inspection partners. I got my insurance partners. And it makes it all easier because, like you said, at 11 o'clock at night, we can pick up the phone, call Joe. Hey, Joe, I saw the inspection report. What are your thoughts on it? And we work together on those things to make sure. I have
even realtors that will send me like inspection reports like, "Hey, I have this listing. Here's the report that we got. What do you think about this?" And I was like, "This sucks." Or like, "All right." I'm like, or like, "Hey, this is really good. Like, I think you should, look into this stuff." But yeah. Awesome. Here to help. Thank you so much, though.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think the biggest thing, so what we learned, to make a kind of a little bullet points is get a home inspection. Be there with the home inspector to actually follow through. And, don't skimp on it. Don't assume you don't need it. It's going to help you negotiate to fix anything. It's going to give you peace of mind. You're going to know what you need to do to maintain it. And in the long run, it's just going to be the best process, and having somebody like Joe giving you just a well thought out report and everything easy to read, makes it super easy. So,
and even us, we learned some things today too for ourselves. So awesome stuff. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching and listening. Our next episode is going to be exciting. I am going away for a little bit, so when I get back, we're going to have Austin Thines with Goosehead. He's one of our insurance partners that we work with. He's going to talk about insurance and how important it is, and this kind of goes great right after the inspections because that's a big part of it. So we're excited about that. That will launch in a couple weeks, and we appreciate everybody out there that does watch us, follow us, and listens to us. So if you have any questions at all, we'll post Joe's information. You have our information. Make sure you stay tuned and make sure you watch the last episodes because you will learn something. Thanks.
Thank you.